Hare Krishna. So we will start with Mangala Charan prayers to invoke the auspiciousness. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangunglam khayate girim jat kripa tamahang vande Sri Gurun dinataranam paramananda madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody to our Bhakti Sastri class. So we're still in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter entitled the Divine and Demoniac Nature. So in the previous class, we ended up with the discussion that's up to the 15th verse of the 16th chapter. So I believe that there are few devotees were assigned to share their understanding from text number 16 to 20. Whether those devotees are here, who was there to take up text number 16? Okay, so I will take it up. Yeah, in our previous class, we were discussing about the nature of those who are demoniac, and we were discussing a little bit about their destiny of those who are having this demoniac tendency. So we will continue with that. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So Somaka Prabhu will be sharing his understanding on text number 18, Vanamali Prabhu text 19, and Kumudaksa Prabhu text number 20. So I will take text number 16 and 17. Yeah. So text number 16. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusion, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into the hell. So welcome to the hell. So this is the destination of those who are having this demoniac tendency. It is also described by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto, Matirna Krishne Parata Swatova Mito Vipadyeta Grihabratanam Andhanta Gobir. Andha means you are going down. Andhanta Gobir Visatam Tamishram. There is one hell called Andhata Mishra. It is described in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also of course in the Garuda Purana. So this Andhata Mishra is the lowest among the hells. So actually there are unlimited numbers of hells, but of course in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is described about 28, I believe there are 28 types of hell. So different punishment, different sinful activities will get different result and punishment. So this Andhata Mishra is the lowest of the hells amongst the hells, and punishment in this hell is very very severe. Of course, in all hells actually, it is very severe. Puna puna charvita charvanana. So those who are too attached with sense enjoyment, matir na Krishna, they don't have attraction. Mati means attraction. Matir na Krishna, they don't have attraction to Krishna, toward Krishna. Parata swa to va, para and swa. Interesting, these two words. There is para and also swa. Para means other, swa means our own. So those who are too attached with sense enjoyment, they will not get attracted by Krishna even after other persons, somebody would encourage them to take up devotional service, or even if they themselves they are wanting to take up Krishna consciousness, swa, para and swa. Others help, others advise, and also our own endeavor. But when we too much attach with sense enjoyment, so our determination doesn't take place. It doesn't take place for Krishna consciousness because too much sense enjoyment, Bhoga Ishwarya Prasartanam. Vito Vipadyeta Griha Brajanam. Of course, Srila Prabhupada explains in many lectures or even in some of his purport that Vito Vipadyeta Griha Brajanam, the highest type of enjoyment in the material world, Mito, Maitunadi, Maitun means sexual affairs. So Mito Vipadyena Griha Brajanam, Andanta Gobir Visatam Tanishna. So the result is that just we are gliding down to the hell. Puna puna charvita charvananam. And again, we get the body, material body. Puna puna charvita charvananam. Again and again, we are chewing something which has been chewed. So that was Prahlad Maharaj explanation about those who are too strongly attached with sense enjoyment. So they cannot get attracted by Krishna unless if any merciful great devotee like Nard Muni would appear in the front of them and just bestow their mercy. Yeah, but generally those who are too attached with sense enjoyment, they don't come to Krishna consciousness. They don't come to Krishna consciousness. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, a demoniac person believes in the strength of his personal work, not in the law of karma. According to the law of karma, a man takes his birth in a high family or becomes rich or very well educated or very beautiful because of good work in the past. So this Janma Ishwarya Shruta Srivi. So Janma, good birth. You take birth in a good family. Janma Aishwarya, full of opulence, wealth. Sruta, educated family. Srivi, beauty. So these things actually begotten by those who are pious in their previous life. Janmaishwarya Sruta Srivi. But Edamana Mada Puman. But the result of most of the times, those who take birth in a good family, high class family, rich family, educated in the sense of material education, and then those who are beautiful, so edamana madapuman, they becomes mad, they becomes intoxicated by all this, by wealth. So we don't get intoxicated only by drinking wine. We got intoxicated by material education. For example, if we have done PhD in the USA, for example, that's like big things, big things, and we become proud, we become intoxicated by that. Or let's say if we are too rich, for example, we also become intoxicated by our wealth, too much enjoyment. Janma Ishwarya, Edamana Madakuman. So, and those who are demoniac, they are thinking that whatever they get, actually, it is due to their own endeavor. But actually, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, in the third canto, it is mentioned that karmana daiva netrena. So there are two things. One is the result of our previous activities in the past life. In the past life, we have done something, so now we get it. And not only that, but also daiva netrena, the supervision of Krishna, Krishna's supervision. Yeah. Somebody can mute.
Yola, nyom rose, yo rose.
Yeah. So the demon will think that whatever I have gained, it is due to me. I have done this, so whatever I get is actually because of me. They don't believe in the law of karma, but everything is arranged actually by the result of our activities. This is called karma, karmic reaction. We suffer or we happy. That's actually the arrangement of the Lord. Yeah, the arrangement of Krishna. By the law of karma, we get what we deserve. So when we're happy, we have to understand that, yeah, uh, we get this because we have done something good in the past, but also this kind of material happiness is temporary. Tasyaiva hetu prayate tako vido nalabhyate yad brahmatam uparyadaha tallabhyate dukkavad anyata sukha kalena sarvatra gambira ramhasa. So kalena dukkavad anyata sukha kalena. So suffering and miseries, they will come, even if we don't desire them to come. We don't desire miseries come to life, to our life, but they will come anyway. And also happiness, we don't have strive so much to get happiness, because the happiness will come anyway by the due course of time. Kalena sarvatra gambira ramhasa dukkavad anyata sukha. So but those who are intelligent, tasyaiva hetu prayateta kovida. The kovida means those who are spiritually inclined. So they will search beyond this material happiness and distress, beyond material happiness, something that higher, and that is actually the spiritual happiness, Brahma Saukyam, Brahma Saukyam to Anantam. So the nature of spiritual happiness is actually eternal. Brahma Saukyam to Anantam. Rishabhadev Maharaj explained to his son. Okay, we continue. The best example of such a demoniac man was Ravana. He offered a program to the people by which he would prepare a staircase so that anyone could reach heavenly planets, the heavenly planets, without performing sacrifices, such as are prescribed in the Vedas. Similarly, in the present age, such demoniac men are striving to reach the higher planetary system by mechanical arrangement. These are examples of bewilderment. So Prabhupada mentioned here the best example of the demon, of demoniac man, was Ravana. Because actually during Ravana's reign, let's say like this, during Ravana's reign, when he defeated the demigod, he tied even Yamaraj, the god of death, the controller of death. Of course, Krishna is the ultimate controller, but in this case, Yamaraj, he is also having some control over somebody's life. So even Yamaraj was bound by Ravana. So can you imagine that Ravana was so powerful that he turned the laws of karma, he turned. Those who are performing something good will get punishment. and those who are performing something real terrible, bad, violent, so they will get some happiness. This was there when Ravana was defeating all the demigods. So he could build, actually, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, a staircase here by which actually you just climb directly. You don't have to perform any sacrifice. You can go to heaven by climbing a staircase, which is built by Ravana. But of course, it doesn't last for eternity. It doesn't last for eternity. So as soon as he uh, made some mistake, challenging Lord Ram by kidnapping Mother Sita, then the journey, the history of his life will change. So Lord Ram killed him. So similarly, Prabhupada mentioned here that in the present age, many people try to reach the higher planetary system by some kind of mechanical arrangement. So the Prabhupada referring here to those who attempt to go to the moon. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that it is impossible actually to go to the moon because moon, Chandra Loka, is actually one of the heavenly planets. So we cannot go there to the moon unless we get enough piety. If we don't get enough piety, we cannot go there. And also to go there, we have to change our body. This body is not suiting to be in the moon because moon is very cold. You need a particular type of body. Even sun also, in the sun. So the foolish people, they are thinking that there is no light in the sun because it's too hot. Well, not what is that? Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha. What is that? Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha. Yat kledayanti apo nasosayati marutaha. So the soul cannot be cut to pieces, cannot be dried by wind, cannot be moistened by water, cannot be burned by fire. So the soul is there, exists in the sun planet, but the type of the body is different. So we have to get certain type of body to live in the sun. So the scientists, the astronaut, they try to find out also whether there is life in the what is this planet? Mars. In Mars. Well, there is life in every nook and corner of the universe actually, because the soul is eternal and the soul will adjust its body according to depend on his karma and where he is born. Just the simple example Srila Prabhupada gave, that just like a human cannot live under the water, cannot live under the water because we need a specific type of body, a specific uh, system of body by which we can breathe inside the water, just like the fish. The fish. So similarly for the fish, they cannot live in the land. Yeah, so this is demoniac people's destination is hell. And then text number 17. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige. They sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in the name only without following any rules or regulation. So this is actually the hypocrisy, the mentality of the demon also being hypocrite, try to make show, making show. Well, we see also like uh, many people actually. Let's take example also like Ravana. So he's disguising himself to be uh, a rishi, a brahmana, chanted some mantra just to uh, get Mother Sita closer. So this is also some kind of hypocrisy, cheating. Hypocrisy is another word of cheating. So we make a show of ourselves that we are advanced, we are doing something good, but it's just for the sake of our sense enjoyment, because people will praise us. Wow, how great you are! You are doing such and such. So grihesu kutadharmesu sakto gramya sukhe chaya. Karma tantra vitanute veda vada vipinnadi. So this is mentioned in the fourth canto by Nandi, the carrier of Lord Shiva to Daksha. Grihesu kutadharmesu. So those who are in the Grihastha ashram, kutadharmesu sakto gramya sukhe chaya. If they are too attached with uh, Gramya Sukha. Gramya Sukha means material enjoyment in family life. So they are actually not really a grihastha, but they are called grihesu kutadharmis. They are performing some religious activities, but that's kind of materially motivated. Dharma projita kaitava atra, kaitava dharma, or kutadharma, same thing. So this is whatever religious activities performed with material motivation, that's actually demoniac. Krishna mentioned here, that's actually demoniac. Kutadharma is sakto gramya sukhe. They just concerned with material enjoyment. Sakto gramya sukhe jaya. Karma tantra vitanute. They may seemingly perform some sacrifice, some charity, giving charity to the poor, building hospital, making road like this, giving, but within their heart, within their mind, they have this expectation that people will respect them. So in this way, actually, their ear uh, will be pleased by such kind of cheap praise, I would say like that. Karma tantra vitanute. So they may perform some religious activities, but this is actually artificial. Veda vada vipinnadihi. So Veda vada vipinnadihi. Vipinnadihi means they lost their intelligence. They don't really understand what is the purpose of Vedas. Veda vada vipinnadihi. Because what is the purpose of the Vedas? Sarvasya chaham hridisami. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Veda is cha sarvair aham eva vidya. So Veda is cha sarvair aham. So to understand Krishna, that's the only purpose of studying the Vedas and performing sacrifice according to the Vedas, according to the scriptures. But those who are performing all this sacrifice for just for a show, so they are Veda Vada Vipinnati. They lost their intelligence in the sense of they don't reach the goal of why they are performing this. They don't really understand. So it's just artificial. They become proud, false prestige, as Srila Prabhupada translated here, deluded by wealth and false prestige. So sometimes they proudly perform sacrifice in the name only. So just like Daksha. So what happened? He offended Lord Shiva because he's performing the sacrifice not really sincere to please the Supreme Lord, but he just want to make sure. At that time, the 33 crores demigods praising Daksha, offering respect to Daksha. But Lord Shiva, he was deep in meditation, so he was in trance, chanting the holy name of the Lord. So he was, we can say oblivious with the presence of Daksha. At that time, Daksha was entering the arena of sacrifice. And just because of that small thing, simple thing, Daksha got very, very upset, very offended by Lord Shiva. Although uh, at that time, Lord Shiva was not at all in fault because he was in deep meditation to Lord Vishnu. And Daksha lost his vision. He could not recognize who is actually Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the Vaisnavanam Yathasambhu, the greatest among the devotees, Lord Shiva. So he failed to understand Lord Shiva's position. Stabda na pashyanti hidama bhuyasham. So stabda means proud. Stabda na pashyanti. He cannot see. Stabda na pashyanti hidama bhuyasha. Dhamma means actually great personality. Hidama Bhuyasha. He failed to understand whose Lord Shiva. The purpose of Prabhupada mentioned sometimes such demons take up the role of preacher, mislead the people, and become known as religious performers or as incarnation of God. Yeah, this is especially in India. We found there are so many incarnations of God. I mean, there are so many people claiming to be the incarnation of God. You know? There are so many preachers. They are misleading people. Like we can say, like Sai Baba, for example, he's just a yogi. Well, maybe he's a yogi, or let's say he is just a magician. Magician. There are so many people who can perform what Sai Baba could do, what Sai Baba could perform, even greater than what he performed. He just crush some powder right from his hand, or make some golden chain appear from his hand. Well, this is something that very easy to be done by the magicians all over the world. Many people having this quality, I mean, like this expertise of being, fast, moving something from one thing and hiding something and make it appear as if it's really appear. Well, that's one of so many cheaters in this world, especially in Kali Yuga. Even also like Swami Vivekananda, for example. So he's misleading people actually. His commentary uh, on the scriptures, on the Bhagavad Gita, even actually he blasphemed the Bhagavad Gita. Well, there is no need to read the Bhagavad Gita because um, he said, I read one of his quote. He's mentioning that playing football is better than reading Bhagavad Gita. Playing football will make us healthy, will make our body healthy by playing football. But reading Bhagavad Gita will make us so fat and our tummy will become bigger because we are sitting, not doing anything. So that he mentioned. He also said that there is no need to worship Tulasi. Why don't you worship eggplant? Tulasi will not give you anything, but eggplant will give you this fruit, vegetables, and you can eat it. So this is the mentality of the demoniac people because they're simply concerned with their external enjoyment, bodily enjoyment. And also we see also in the pastime of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, if you remember, that there's one Babaji who was claiming to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu. So that was a long story, and finally, of course, this Babaji, he's actually a yogi. He was claiming to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu, and he has some shakti actually, some power, magic power. He can uh, make fire appear from his head, on the top of his head, and he has some uh, Sakti, some power of, like kind of tantric things. And he made Bhaktivinoda, he attacked Bhaktivinoda Thakur and also Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daughter. They were very, very severely attacked and they were really, really sick. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as a great devotee, so he's determined. And finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked the British government and police to catch this so-called incarnation of Mahavishnu and put into the jail. And still, this yogi remain alive even after fasting for a month. And finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he got an information actually all the power of this yogi is situated on his dreadlock hair. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered to cut his hair. And finally, just a while after that, this yogi collapsed and left his body. Common men advertise them as God and worship them, and by the foolish they are considered advanced in the principles of religion or in the principles of spiritual knowledge. They take the dress of the renowned sorrower of life and engage in all nonsense in that dress. So we find this also. There are so many. Right after Srila, the second generation after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Vishwanath Chakravati Thakur disappeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared, and then the six Goswamis disappeared, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravati Thakur's generation, and that batch disappeared, and then the name of Vaishnavism actually became very, very bad in the public, in the front of the public, because there are so many so-called Vaishnavas. They are actually claiming themselves to be Vaishnavas. They take Babaji Vaishya. Babaji Vaishya means they live as Babaji, but at the same time they have three or four, even more paramours with them. So in the front of public, they look like very renowned. They live in the simple hut, simple cloth, saffron dress, but behind the scene, actually, they are enjoying with somebody's wife, because their philosophy, their preaching was, if you want to understand the lila of Radha and Krishna, so you have to enjoy with somebody else's wife. So that was their preaching, that was their philosophy. Then after that, during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's period, so he tried to reestablish the real Siddhanta of this Vaishnavism. Otherwise, it may continue like that. We find also Indra. Actually, many times Indra was committing some abominable, seems to be very abominable mistake. Like once he was told stealing the horse of Prithu Maharaj. So he was disguising himself as a Brahmana, as a sannyas. And also he was changing his form into Gautama Muni, and then raped the wife of Gautama Muni for his own personal enjoyment. So like this is demoniac, hypocritical nature. So now, uh, text number 18, who got this chance to take
Hare
up text
Krishna.
number 18? Yes, Somaka Prabhu, you can.
Shall I read the verse?
Yeah, I think it's good to read the verse, and then you can share your realization with all of us here. Yeah, I will show here the verse. Yeah, you can read it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, luster, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. This is I find it a very important verse because we see this happening all the time, and it's an overall trend everywhere. So for me, in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, it's interesting that where he says he does not know that the present life is a preparation for the next life. Not knowing this, he is actually envious of his own self as well of others, and he commits violence on other bodies and on his own. So the demoniac person actually doesn't realize that he's harming himself. Actually, it's this self-destruction. So there is the self-destruction of the demons. The demons are so intoxicated by their desires that actually at the end they destroy everything. So there is no real purpose to what they are doing. The end result is destruction. And how also because they are envious of the Supreme Personality of God, then they develop new theories and new ways to try to deny the authority of God, and they invent all these philosophies, these ways of thinking, and in the present society we see all these aspects. Actually destruction is everywhere. And then irreligion, this idea that religious principles are useless and they should be replaced with something else. So these are very, very common things that we see everywhere around the world. These were my thoughts when reading the verse and Srila Prabhupada's purport.
Yeah, thank you so much, Somaka Prabhu. Yeah, that's interesting. That even earlier in this chapter we find that verse mentioning it. What is that? Ksayaya jagato hitaha. So ksayaya jagato hitaha means they simply destroying the world. So this is the demoniac tendency. If you see this picture that I put up here, interesting. Hiranyakasipu is one of the example of a person who is actually demonstrating whatever mentioned in this verse. False ego, bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, anger. The demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Hiranyakasipu said that, let's kill Vishnu, kill all the cows, kill all the brahmanas. Because when the cows and the brahmanas are killed, no more performance of sacrifice. So in this way, actually, the demigod, they will become very, very weak. So the strength that the demigod get actually from the performance of sacrifice. So if they don't get this nourishment from the performance of sacrifice, sacrifice is stopped. So they will feel very weak. They will feel insecure, and they will go to Lord Vishnu and pray. So in that way, Lord Vishnu will appear. And Hiranyakasipu said, when Lord Vishnu appear, we shall attack him, we will kill him. So when Prahlad Maharaj was asked, like, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And Prahlad Maharaj said, he is Vishnu, Narayan, Krishna. Hiranyakasipu became very angry because he established a rule that actually he is God, Hiranyakasipu is God. Hiranyakasipu should be worshipped by everybody.
Prabhu, if I may add a little comment, just because I remember a senior devotee mentioning it. And
Sure, please.
Thank you. It might be interesting is that so what is also happening is that this demoniac nature makes so that demons want to remove all the signs and the symbols that help us remember Krishna. So the remembrance is lost. So all this demoniac civilization that with city life and things, so all the things that in nature help us remember of Krishna naturally, they want to get rid of all that. So to deprive everyone of that possibility as well. So it's an interesting concept. I mean, an interesting view connected to what you were saying. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Whether any question on text number 18 from anybody here in this class? If you have some question, you can direct that question to Somaka Prabhu because he is the in charge, the controller of this verse for now. Or from the beginning of our discussion, whether any question. Otherwise, if there is no question, we shall move to the next verse. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Somaka Prabhu. Now we will move to the text number 19 by, who is that? Vanamali Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prabhu, please. You can read the translation.
Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, and I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. There are so many varieties of life, so we have to accept one of them by Krishna's desire, Krishna's arrangement. Krishna says, Ishwaram Sarvabhutanam Hridaya Arjuna Tishtati. He is the situated in everyone's heart. He observing everything. So he observed that give him a body like this. Who can check it? This body is a machine. The machine is given by material nature.
Mm.
Today you may be a very big man, and by your activities you are so condemned that you have to accept a lower grade life, a fox, slave fox. You are very slave to spend others' money in moon. So now you become a fox. So who can check it? There is a statement stated that acham disha kunam. So you cannot check it. You are not so great scientist. Then how do you say there is no God? You cannot check God's law. So how you can say that there is no God? You can say at your home, I don't care for government, and then government arrest you and put you in difficulty. How can you check it? It is possible. They then why do you submit that? When the police comes and arrest you, you can say, no, no, I don't care of any officers. You cannot say it is this not punishment. This tree is standing there for hundreds of years and it will go on standing for thousands of years. It is not a punishment. This from Prabhupada lecture.
Acha, nice. Any other things you want to say, Vanamali Prabhu?
No, Prabhu.
Okay,
The
thank you.
Prabhupada is saying
Yeah,
in this, okay, we have to accept matlab, material body by Krishna's desire. And we are, if we are demonic in nature, then we will get a tree body or fox body and lower species of life we will get.
yes. Where is that? Here it is. Yeah, thank you very much, Vanamali Prabhu. So we see here, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, it is stated that an individual soul after his death is put to the womb of a mother, where he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of superior power. So this is Karmana Daivanetrena. And those who are envious and mischievous, who are lowest among men. So Krishna said that I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence into various demoniac species of life. Yeah. Whether any question on this verse from anybody who is in this class, you can ask.
Vishnudatta Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Any question? Okay, seems no. So we can continue to the next verse, text number 20. Who is that? Kumudaksa Prabhu, whether he's still there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. I'm
Yeah.
still here, but I don't know it will be noisy or not because I'm on the bus now.
Okay,
I
no
will
problem.
try. Please,
We
please
can
share the
hear you clearly.
yeah. Please share the screen and then I can text. I will read the text first.
Yeah, yeah. Here.
Text 20, chapter 16. Attaining repeated births among the species of demoniac life, the son of Kunti, such person can never approach me. Gradually, this sinks down to the most abominable type of existence. So, in this verse, actually, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that usually God is being divine as a very merciful God. But here it is something, another thing, that God is never merciful to the demoniac, as if like that. But actually, this is not in the case, because in one case, God actually will also give mercy to them, and it is described here. Of course, one who is in the demonic mentalities, they will be born into the lowest kind of lowest creature or lowest form of life, but somehow or other they will be again going down, 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 and down, and then finally, if they are very, if they are fortunate enough, they will be actually be killed by God Himself, as if in the example of many in the pastimes of many personalities like Hiranyakasipu, also Hiranyaksas, and also like Jarasandha. And although they are actually, yeah, their real identity is not ordinary living entity, it is a pastimes of the Lord, but it's giving us example that actually God is merciful to everyone. It's mentioned also there, that Srila Prabhupada mentioned in Vedanta Sutra is found that God is never hating anyone. Yeah. Also, it's mentioned also in Bhagavad Gita. I forgot that verse mentioning that
Samoham sarvabhuteshu.
Samoham sarva bhutesu. I mean, but in something like that, it's mentioned that there is no one I hate and no one I favor, but devotees is more dear to me because like that. So it is in different tradition mentioned that God is all merciful, and then here it is another merciful part of God, another side, merciful features of God, because He even give liberation to those demoniac living entity. So usually in the one who is in in the what is recalled in the extreme, so extreme the personality who is extremely good, or I mean devoted to Him, he will be given, is very dear to Him. But here one who is very low, or this is is very demoniac, then extremely demoniac, they will be killed by God Himself. Okay, I think that's all what I can understand from this purport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kumudaksa Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Despite of your traveling, you are attending the class. Most appreciated. So yeah, it's very interesting here. If you see in the screen, I say here, I highlighted this part. It is not that God is all merciful, but here we find that God is never merciful to the demoniac. And Srila Prabhupada, of course, continuing. So as what Kumudaksa Prabhu has elaborately mentioned, that finally, after all, if they cast into the lower creatures, like lowest, really, really down, 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 and finally they become demon, and sometimes they get the chance also to be killed by Krishna. But well, in that case, actually, you have to become very, very great demon in order to be killed by Krishna. So whether you become a great devotee or you become a great demon to meet Krishna. To meet Krishna, you have to become a great devotee. And also another way how to meet Krishna is to become a great demon, very, very great demon. But Rupa Goswami explained devotional service means anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. That means performing something favorable for Krishna. So that is called bhakti. Of course, these demons who are killed by Krishna, they get liberation. But actually, if we see the explanation of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his, there's one book, what is that? I forgot the title of the book. He mentioned that not all the demons killed by Krishna, uh, they are going back home, back to Godhead. Some demons, they just simply merge into the Brahman existence, to the Brahma Jyoti. But some demons also, they get immediate result, going back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. So yeah, but still impersonal liberation is also liberation. But in our case as devotees, we are rejecting this impersonal liberation. But for the yogis, for the Mayavadis, they are hankering so much to get this impersonal liberation. So yeah, this is Krishna's treatment of the demoniac. You see, Krishna's treatment. Krishna is treating even the demons also. So this is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. But unfortunately, instead of taking shelter of Krishna, we have taken shelter of lusty desires. This is demoniac. Therefore, it is said, Kaman asritya duspuram, duspuram. Du means very difficult, and puram means satisfaction. Duspuram. We have taken shelter of lusty desires, which will never be satisfied. This is also, this is our position. Kamam asritya duspuram. This materialistic person, demons, their desires are never fulfilled. Increasing, more. So that means increasing means we are becoming implicated more and more. The business of human life is how to become free from this material engagement. But our situation is we are increasing more and more. So this lust is actually the root of our existence in this material world. Why we are here? Because we have lust. Lust is a perverted reflection of love actually in the spiritual world. Therefore this tree, the banyan tree of the material world, we find in the beginning of the 15th chapter, Urdhva mula madasakam aswatam prahur avyayam chandam siyasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavi. So the root is urdhva mulam, the root is on the top, adasakam, and the branch down, because just like a tree stand next to a lake, so the real tree is the spiritual world, and whatever the tree that we see, the root on the top is actually the reflection of the real tree. So this love in the spiritual world, when it comes, when we experience here, that love turn into lust, just like, Srila Prabhupada gave the analogy, just like a milk. When the milk associated with tamarind, sour tamarind, so that milk will become curd. So that love becomes lust. Love in the spiritual world becomes lust in the material world due to the contact of the three modes of material nature. So lust is our root of existence actually in the material world. Therefore, if we want to get liberated, we have to give up this, especially lust. So we will discuss this in the next session, next part of this discussion. We have another 30 minutes. I hope we can cover that. Okay, so that's the end of this presentation. And then the second part is from text 21 to 24. Okay, whether any question from the beginning of our class that you have in mind, you can express now. Hare Krishna. Before we continue, okay, your silent means no question. You have understood everything. Okay, text number 20 to 24, giving up demoniac tendencies and following scriptures. The result of performing demoniac activities is to be cast by Krishna into the lower species and other types of hellish life, because lust, anger, and greed are the beginning of demoniac life. It is interesting. It is mentioned here, kama, krodha, and greed, lobha. So these three things, the beginning of demoniac life. But actually, anger and greed, they are born from lust. How it is, we will discuss that later. All sane men should give them up and understand their duty by faithfully following the scriptures. The ultimate difference between divine and demoniac is that the divine follows scriptures, whereas demons do not. This is the difference. It is very simple. The divine means they follow scriptures, and the demoniacs, they don't follow scriptures. Okay, text number 21. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, maybe you want to
Hare
take.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Should I read the verse?
Yeah, you read the verse and then the translation also, please.
Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanah kama krodhas tata lobhas tasmad etat trayam tejat. In translation, there are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Should I read the purport, bro?
Yeah, why not? I think the purport is short. Yeah.
Yes, it's one paragraph. The beginning of demoniac life is described herein. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arise. A sane man who does not want to glide down to the species of demoniac life must try to give up these three enemies, which can kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from this material entanglement. So, Krishna in this verse is describing the beginning of demoniac life. Like one tries to satisfy his lust, and then when he can't, then anger comes, greed comes. So if we don't want to degrade ourselves, we should give these up. Otherwise, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that it will kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from this material entanglement.
So how this anger and greed sprout up from lust? Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport.
In second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, those verses are there. Jayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamat Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Like when we have some lust, we have some desire for some object, then we cannot get that. So lust, anger comes.
And then how greed appear also from lust. So when lust is unfulfilled, anger appear. And then what about lobha or greed? How it connected to lust, how it appears from lust. Or anybody else would like to answer to that question? How greed appears from lust? Okay, so anger appear from lust. When lust is unfulfilled, anger appear. You get frustrated when you desire something, but the desire is unfulfilled. You get frustrated, you become angry. And then when lust is fulfilled, what happened next? You want more. You have another desire. Your desire increase. That is called greed, lobha. So when the lust is fulfilled, your material desire is fulfilled, you become greedy. We will become greedy because it is fulfilled. We get the taste. We get the taste. Just like, let's say, I love to eat rasgulla, for example. Okay. I love to eat rasgulla. So I desire to eat rasgulla. So I get this rasgulla. It's so tasty. What happened next? I desire more because I got the taste. So similarly, uh, material desire is like that. Na jatu kama kama na upabhogena samyati. Havisha Krishna vart meva havisha Krishna vart meva eva bhuya bivardate. So this is the instruction of King Yayati to Devayani, to his wife. Na jatu kama kama na. Lust cannot be satisfied. Cannot be satisfied, just like as much as we try to satisfy as much as we try to satisfy fire by supplying any amount of fuel, so the fire will become bigger and demand for more fuel. So that's how actually lobha also sprout up from kama. So anger and greed, actually two things which are appear from lust actually. So when lust is unfulfilled, anger appear. But when lust is fulfilled, so greed will appear. And these two things combined together with the first one, lust, anger, and greed. So these three things, Trividam Narakashedam. These are the gate leading to the hell. Tasmat etat trayam tyajet. And therefore, any sane man should given up all these three things. So if we don't want to go to the hell, we have to give up our lust, anger, and greed. Of course, to deal with lust is not such an easy thing. Kama rupena kaunteya duspurena na lena cha. Krishna explained in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Purena na lena cha. Duspurena means very, very difficult to conquer. And that is kama rupena. And this is, Krishna explained to Arjuna, this is devouring enemy. Devouring enemy. The enemy that ready to crush us at any time, and that is lust. So when we can conquer this lust, then we will not go down to the hell. Trividam naraka shidam. Okay, thank you very much, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Whether any question from this text from anybody here that can be directed to Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, or we can continue. So this is the three gates to hell. Text number 22. Translation. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attain the supreme destination. One should be very careful of these three enemies of human life, lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulation enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually rises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. So how this is possible? This is possible only when we get the association of the devotees. Come back to the root again, come back to the base again. Sadhu Sangha is very important. This Sadhu Sangha will help us actually to kick all these three things mentioned here. Kama, Krodha, Tata, Lobha, lust, anger, and greed. So when we always in the association of the devotees, No, we are engaging ourselves in the service of the devotees and the Lord. So in this way, actually, that is the Chetodarpana process, the cleaning of the heart, the dust in the mirror of our heart. By this process, we have kirtan with the devotees, taking prasadam among the devotees. We have Krishna Katha among the devotees. So this is called Satam Prasanga. Satam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasayana Kataha Tajo Sadad Aswa Pavarga. You see, Tajo Sanad Aswa Apavarga Vartmani. If we keep these three things with us, lust, anger, and greed, so this is Trividam Narakashidam Dwaram Nashanam Atmana. So if we cannot conquer these three things, lust, anger, and greed, we will go down to the hell. But by the association, by associating ourselves with the devotees of the Lord, you know. So what is that verse mentioned? Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti rit karna rasa yanakata tajo sanad aswa apavarga vartmani. So aswa apavarga. Apavarga means liberation. Apavarga means bondage. Apavarga vartmani. Sradha ratir bhaktir anukramishyam. So not only liberation, but also our faith to Krishna is increasing. Sradha, rati, our attraction to Krishna. Ratir and bhakti, our devotion to Krishna. So liberation is the side effect, the byproduct of the performance of devotional service, of associating oneself with the devotees of the Lord. So liberation is guaranteed because in the association of the devotees, we are completely purified. We become purified in the association of the devotees. And lust, anger, and greed will no longer there with us. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. This self-realization is perfected in devotional service. In that devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are institute the four orders of life and four statuses of life called the caste system and the spiritual order system or varnashram dharma. There are different rules and regulations for different castes or division of society. And if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt. Without a doubt. So Prabhupada mentioning here. First of all, the cultivation of knowledge. Cultivation of knowledge, spiritual knowledge is very important. Therefore, Gurukul is actually very essential because there actually our kids will get a lot of information on spiritual subject matter in Gurukul. They don't get spoiled in Gurukul for sure. Kumaram acharet pragyo dharmam bhagavatamiha dulabhamanusam dharma tad apya dhruvamarthadam. So this human form of life is durlabha manusam janma. Durlabha means very difficult to get. Kumaram acharet pragyo. So we have to educate our kids as early as possible in spiritual subject matter. Teach them how to chant around, how to chant japa, how to do kirtan, read Srila Prabhupada's book. So things like this, cultivation, knowledge. So it's very important. So by cultivating knowledge, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. So when one have this understanding that I'm not the body, that's actually the beginning of self-realization. Of course, for us who are born in India or even in the Eastern countries, like Indonesia, for example, we understand that we are not the body. We know that we have this knowledge actually. We know we are not the body. We are the spirit soul. So, well, in my personal case, it is like that. I understand that I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. It's a common thing in Indonesia. Everybody knows that within the body there is soul. But for those who are in the West, for example, it's something that new for them. Something new for them, that they are not the body. Srila Prabhupada, of course, when he gives lecture, we can hear Srila Prabhupada's lecture again and again, you know. When normally I'm hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture in the morning, so different lectures I play. Almost in all lectures, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that we are not the body, we are not the body. And this is very simple to understand. What is the difficulty is to understand that we are not the body. It is very simple to understand that we are not the body. Any sane man can understand that we are not the body. Any sane man. And then that's the beginning of self-realization. I highlighted here, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, this self-realization is perfected in devotional service. So if you remember that we were discussing in the previous classes that there are two levels of self-realization. One is when we understand that we are not the body, and second is that when we understand that we are Krishna's servant and act according to that philosophy. And that means our self-realization is perfected. Devotional service. When we perform devotional service, that means our spiritual, I would say, spiritual practice is perfected. Well, the Mayavadis, they know that they are not the body, but they don't engage in Krishna service. So their self-realization is incomplete. It's just half done, halfway. But when one can succeed and engage in devotional service to the Lord, that means his self-realization is perfected. So in that way, devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, so this Varnashram, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, if a person is able to follow them, this Varnashram, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that by following Varnashram, actually one can be elevated to the mode of Sattva Gun. When one is situated in the mode of Sattva Gun, it's easy for him, you know, to cultivate, to advance in Krishna consciousness, because he's situated in goodness. It's just like staircase actually. So like ignorance, patience, goodness, and Visuddha Sattva. The topmost level is Visuddha Sattva. So between Visuddha Sattva and goodness and Sattva and Visuddha Sattva, they are very close. Just one step more, you will reach the platform of Visuddha Sattva. So those who are in the mode of goodness is compared just like a dry grass, very easy to catch fire. So very easy to catch fire. That means very easy to take up Krishna consciousness. Once they become a devotee, they become devotees, and they will very, sincerely following rules and regulation, sadhana. This is the mode of goodness. But those who are afflicted by passion and ignorance, so those who are patient, they are rebellion to the rules and regulation. Those who are in ignorance, they are lazy. And sometimes, even after becoming devotees, also this inner nature, we call it inner nature because it's deep rooted, invested in our heart since millions of lifetimes. So still there, but the chanting of the holy name will help us, and by following rules and regulation, such as following Varnashrams in connection to Krishna consciousness, Daivi Varnashram, then it is possible for us to attain the perfection in this very lifetime. Okay, text number 23, sorry. Yas sastra vidim utsrijya vartati kama karatha nasasidim avapnoti na sukam na param gati. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attain neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. As described before, the Sastra Vidhi or the direction of the Sastra is given to the different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. See, this is another word Srila Prabhupada mentioning here, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is actually really bad. Hypocrisy means not only showing up, but when you have this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, but you don't act according to that. You know, but still you do it. So this is lowest of mankind, just like a thief. A thief actually completely aware that this is not good. This is not good for others, or for me also not good. But despite of having this knowledge, still he is stealing. So that is lowest of mankind. In the Ramayana, we find a story that Ravana, he was very, very smart. He has 10 heads and he was studying the Vedas like anything, and he becomes very smart, very knowledgeable when he chants the Vedic mantras. Like it's so pleasing to the ear. So one time, Indra was performing sacrifice, fire sacrifice, and by chance Ravana was walking around and he was chanting some Vedic mantras. He was singing some verse, and then Indra heard that. Indra heard that Ravana was chanting the Vedic mantra. So sweet. He's he's also very talented. Ravana is very talented in singing. So sweet. And then Indra got attracted, and then he approached Lord Brahma, saying that, "Oh, I think we should invite Ravana to our yagya, and he will chant the Vedic mantra." And then Brahma said, "No, no, no, it is not good idea." But Indra, he was so stubborn and he invited Ravana. Because anyway, actually, Indra and Ravana, they are, uh, in one sense, they are brothers actually, because both of them the son of Kashyapa. So he invited Ravana, and Ravana started chanting the Vedic mantra while that yogic performance. And then the fire god Agni became also very enchanted. And then Agni said to his wife Swaha, "Look, listen to Ravana's chanting, so sweet. Why don't you appear in the front of Ravana and bless Ravana?" And then Swaha said, "Okay, I will go and then bless him." And as soon as Swaha appeared in that fire sacrifice, Ravana immediately stopped his chanting and kidnapped Swaha. So this is demoniac, lowest of mankind. Ravana, he has a lot of knowledge, but he's not practicing this knowledge. So Sastra Vidim Utsrijya, they don't follow scriptures, act according to his own whims. The word kama karataha is very significant. A person who knowingly violates the rules acts in lust. He knows that that this is forbidden, but still he acts. This is called acting whimsically. He knows that he knows that this should be done, but still he does not do it. Therefore, he is called whimsical. So whimsical means When you know something, still you violates that rule, regulation, then you are acting according to your own whims, your own kama karataha. So for this kind of people, na sasiddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na paramgatim. No highest destination, paramgati, no sukham, no siddhim, no perfection. So this is the result disregarding scriptures. And then the last one should therefore understand, text number 24. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulation of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. Veda is just Aham Eva Video 15.15. If one understands Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic scriptures. You see, in the 19th verse of the 15th chapter, it is mentioned, Yomam evam asamudo janati Purushotama sasarva ved bhajan temam sarva bhavena bharata. Sasarva ved bhajan temam. So those who are performing bhajan, bhaj, actually this word bhakti, the root word of bhakti is bhaj. Bhaj means doing some service, sevaya, doing some service is bhaj. And bhakti means devotional service. So when we say bhakti or devotional service, it's actually more into doing something, seva, some service, bhakti. So bhakti is not inert, it's not inert, not simply sitting on meditation, but bhakti is service to the Lord. Bhaj. Yomam evam asam mudho. Asam mudha means not bewildered, those who are not bewildered. Janati Purushottama. So they don't know, they know that I am the Purushottama, the supreme enjoyer, the supreme person, Purusha Uttama. Sa sarva vid bhajantemam. And they perform devotional service to me. And those who are performing devotional service to Krishna, that means they know the essence of the Vedas. Sasarva vid, that means in one sense they know all the Vedas, although they don't read, but when they perform devotional service to Krishna, that means they know what is the purpose of the Vedas. Sarva Bhavena Bharata. See, Sarva Bhavena Bharata. So they have learned the Vedic scriptures. Everything that exists in the Vedas, actually any rules and regulation, actually meant to support us, by which we can engage ourselves in Krishna's service. That's it. But when we don't come to the ultimate conclusion of the Vedas, which is Krishna, that means our study of the Vedas is simply a waste of time. Therefore, this devotional service is actually something which is very, very rare, very, very confidential. Guhyam. Iti guhya tamam sastram idam uktam mayanaga etad buddha buddhi manshat krita krityascha bharata. The last verse of the 15th chapter, text number 20. Iti guhya tamam sastram. Krishna says to Arjuna, I have revealed now to you this most confidential knowledge of the scripture. Iti guhya tamam sastram idam uktam mayanaga etad buddha buddhi manshat krita krityascha bharata. So you know everything now. Buddha. You have knowledge. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to engage in devotional service, in the devotional service of the Lord, and eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all Vedic literature. He has come to the conclusion perfectly. See, Atasi Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyahi Sevan Mukhe Jiwado Swayam Evas Puratyada. So engage your tongue in the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and honoring the prasadam in the devotees association. So in this way you can perfect your life and perform some any other services that which is available and you are capable of doing it. So take up that service. So in this way we can perfect our life in this very lifetime. Follow scriptures, you will get elevation. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of the mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the cause of demoniac life. Those in the mode of passion and ignorance deride scriptures, deride the holy man, deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is that verse in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? When Krishna appeared, Manusim tanum asritam, avajananti mamudho manusim tanum asritam, param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwara. So they don't know Krishna's superior nature, mama bhuta maha ishwara. They don't know Krishna is the supreme controller. Avajananti mamudha, those who are foolish. Manusim tanumasrita. They deride Krishna when Krishna appeared in the form of human being. They disobey the instructions of the scripture. They disobey the instruction of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulation of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. These are some of the defects of human society which lead to the demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful. So what is the key of successful life? Srila Prabhupada mentioned here is attaining the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavanji Guru Krishna Prasadify Bhakti Lota Bij. So Guru first mentioned is that Guru and then Krishna. Because without Guru Kripa, you cannot get Krishna Kripa. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, you cannot get the mercy of Krishna. Bhakti is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained, Bhakti is not something that we can get only by our own endeavor. But Bhakti is something that Krishna gives to us. It is Krishna's property. Bhakti is the property of the spiritual world. It is Krishna's property. So if we are eligible to get it, so Krishna will give it. Even if we are having no qualification, if Krishna, he wanted to give us, so we will get it. Because Krishna is independent. So this is bhakti. Therefore, Krishna is the pure devotees are very dear to Krishna. Aham bhakta paradino yasva tantra ivad vijay sadhubir grasta hridayo bhaktir bhakta janapriya. Krishna said to Durvasa Muni, Aham bhakta paradino. I am controlled by my devotees. Aham bhakta paradino. I'm very, my devotees are very dear to me. So, because the spiritual master is just like the pet of the Supreme Lord, just like the dog of the Supreme Lord. So, love me, that means love my dog. If you want to please me, first you please my dog. That's the principle, even in the material world also. If you want to please me, you have to please also someone who is connected to me. So Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavanchi. Bhagyavan means fortunate. So if we are fortunate enough to meet spiritual master and get his mercy, then Krishna will give his mercy also to us. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Beach. So in this way, the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotion in our heart, will sprout up. Okay, thank you all very much. It's already 8 o'clock. Whether any last comment, last question on this session before I stop it? Actually, we were planning to cover till verse number 10 of the 17th chapter. But anyway, we are fortunate that we completed the 16th chapter, and we will see you on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday. Very nice. Any comments, any question, please? Okay, if there is no, thank you all very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vanchakalpatarubhyacha. Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.